Yeah, it was an awesome week down in Mobile, Alabama. Being able to play football again and get back in those shoulder pads was awesome, and I think that's just kind of the ability to go down to an all-star game and play football and kind of showcase who you are as a football player against that elite competition is super important in this process, and the Senior Bowl does it the right way down there, and had a pretty good week.
Right, if you had an opportunity to be drafted by the Lions, there would be a potential that you would maybe have to kind of redshirt that year and flex in and out. Is that something that you're open to doing, or you just want to get out there and start immediately?
Yeah, I think the mindset coming in is you want to learn as much as you possibly can and understand that there's a growth aspect going from college to the NFL. So when you kind of come into a new ball club, you want to learn from those vets and try and be the best player you can be and have an impact. And the competitor in me wants to go out there and kind of play right away and start playing football because you never know when this game's going to be taken away from you. So, yeah, but understanding there's a process to becoming a good football player in the NFL.
Have you had a chance to formally meet with the Lions?
Informally, yes. So was able to meet with their assistant offensive line coach, and it was a good time.
Versatility is obviously just position versatility at this level of offense.
Yeah, it's extremely critical at the NFL to be able to play multiple positions. At the end of the day, I'm an offensive lineman. It just depends on what hand you put down, what set you take on the position you play, and then if you have to snap a football. So that's the big part about this process is understanding that you never know what position you're going to have to play on any given week, and going out there and just being the best football player you can be is really critical.
In your conversation with teams, has there been a position that really stands out that pros really feel like they're going to play?
Yeah, I would say offensive line. Maybe tight end. I don't know. I got pretty good hands, so we'll have to see.
Have you met with the Buccaneers this week?
Yes, I have. Yep. That was a formal interview. It went well. Really kind of got a pretty good buddy down there, so it'd be pretty sweet to meet back up with him. So 40 times tomorrow. I'm not sure. Hopefully kind of that 4-4, 4-5 range. No, I have no idea. We'll have to see.
If you wound up with Ben Johnson in Chicago, he liked to do all kinds of stuff with Positional. Do you feel like you could be a quarterback if need be?
Yeah. Well, I played quarterback till the 8th grade year, and then they kind of saw my body frame and said, go have fun on the offensive line protecting people. So I was a pitcher in baseball, so I think throwing a football is kind of a hidden talent of mine, and maybe a team sees that in me.
You had a chance to meet with Chicago Bears?
Yes, sir.
How'd that meeting go for you?
It went well. They're kind of a really talented football team. I love their QB, love watching him play and make plays. I'm training with a buddy who played for him at USC, so being able to watch his highlights and understand how special his talents are is pretty cool.
What was in your pitching arsenal?
Fastball, and maybe like a changeup or a curveball. So
How fast?
I could throw it hard enough to get a little bit of chatter, but at the end of the day, it wasn't hard enough to really kind of take baseball as a route.
What makes you the best offensive lineman in this class? You're talking about position versatility, also doing some people use that as like a daily goal. What about the competition? What makes you the best offensive lineman in this class?
Yeah, I kind of got that competition aspect throughout this process, and then going down to the Senior Bowl and having a good week down there is just kind of goes to show that everyone puts on their shoulder pads the same way. Everyone bleeds red. Everyone wears a helmet out on that football field. So if you're a good football player, teams are going to find you, and being able to showcase something like that at the Senior Bowl is pretty critical for me. I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think probably informally and stuff. So it's good.
Have you talked to Cody Mount about kind of going through this process? What advice has he given?
Yeah. I think talking with Cody about this process is really critical. I love being able to FaceTime him and communicate with him. A lot of the times we don't even talk about football. It's just about the process and kind of the mental well-being as you go through these next few months and understanding that. But he's given me a lot of really good insight on what to expect and kind of how to handle situations. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gray, what kind of feedback do you get off of your meetings in terms of where these teams might
Yeah, the feedback's been really good. I'm not really sure I can give you a certain position because every single team kind of views me differently. And having that availability is kind of the best ability to have in this process, and understand that I'm an offensive lineman, I'm a football player. It doesn't really matter what position you play, it just matters where you line up, and you're going to have to block somebody at the end of the day.
Do you have a thought as to what your best position on the line in the NFL might be?
Yeah, I'd probably say offensive line. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep. That's a really good question. In the film study process going throughout the week, you try and break down football players, understand defenses, coverages, types of players that you're going up against. And I would say just kind of every week being able to find something about a defensive end or a defense that kind of makes that light bulb in your head go off, and you see something happening before it truly happens is really kind of one of those moments for me that I enjoy playing football.
when you're scouting the other teams, how do you go about scouting yourself through that process?
Yeah, I would say as you scout throughout the week, it's about 80% the other team and 20% a little self-scout. Understand maybe you're doing a tendency that you don't even know about and trying to fix that tendency. And because if you're able to see that yourself as you watch a football game, I'm almost positive defensive coordinators or defensive staff on the other team sees it as well. So kind of doing a self-scout every single week is super important as you move on throughout your career.
How do you go about doing that? Like to play the center position in the NFL, what do you think you'll need to improve on to be able to play that position at a high level?
Yeah, I would say your football IQ. Being a center, you got to get all 5 of the offensive linemen on the same page and understand tendencies of the defense and understand that defenses change week to week, and being able to know what defense does, kind of what their motto is, what type of defense they want to play is super critical at the centerpiece.
Do you think you can be vocal enough and have the right voice? A lot of times you hear from our other offensive linemen, he's got to be louder. Do you think you can be that loud guy?
Yeah, I would say that's just part of my personality. I always got in trouble for talking and growing up. I was a social butterfly, so being able to play a center position won't be a struggle for me.
Have you met formally with the Dolphins, and if so, anything stand out about that meeting?
Yeah, I think the big thing that stood out about the meeting is just the passion they have for football. Super high football IQ in that kind of program or in that team. And throughout this process has been super cool to kind of see every single team and what kind of makes their ball club click. Yes, sir. Man, he's got a great outlook on life, happy-go-lucky type guy, and loved being able to kind of finally meet him, shake his hand, and have a meeting with him. So that was kind of a surreal moment for me. Yeah, absolutely. I was just texting Jalen. He was on a vacation in the middle of January, out on a cruise, I think. So I'm happy for him and his wife. And another guy that I just kind of lean on throughout this process. He had a tough road to get to the Seahawks, but I knew what type of person and player he was, so I had no doubt that he was going to find his way on a 53-man roster this past fall, and super surreal moment for him.
Have you been able to talk this week?
Yes, I have.
How'd that go?
It was a really good interview. Really liked their offensive line coach and their head coach and the program that they have, or the ball team that they have out there. So I'm excited to kind of get to know that.
Have you been able to meet with the Colts and line coach Tony Sperano Jr.?
I'm not for sure.
Tony's a pretty hands-on guy. I think you'd remember it.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Throughout this process, met with a lot of teams, and so just trying to remember everything has been a little tough for me.
How would you describe your leadership style, and what does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
Yeah, I think I would say my leadership style is kind of lead by example. You got to have a little bit of sweat equity before you start becoming a leader on certain teams or programs. And then I would say I'm a vocal leader as well. Being able to understand how guys are kind of wired and how they click and how they respond to certain adversity is really critical in this process. And being a leader is something that you just don't walk in day one and you're just a leader. You got to be able to continue to build and grow and show guys that you have the leadership qualities and you're willing to do anything that it takes. And big kind of motto of mine is I'm never going to ask you to do something I haven't done. So that's just kind of the leader I am.
Gray, do you feel like you get more hyped up by clearing a defender out and opening up a big hole for a big run, or holding on to a guy long enough for a big pass play to develop?
I would say there are pros and cons to both. Rule number one in pass pro is to keep the quarterback upright, to protect your QB. And then number two is you want to create a line of scrimmage that your running back can have a positive run off of. So I'd say there are joys to both, but I love playing some physical football, and we love running the damn ball.
Gray, what do you want people to remember about the name Gray Zabel, the person that you are?
Yeah, really good question. I think the first thing I want people to remember is what type of person he is, the type of character that he has. And then also on the football field, to understand he's a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to make sure his QB stays upright and to keep the quarterback clean and protect that guy. Because especially playing left tackle this past year, you got the blind side. And understanding that role and kind of having that on your shoulders, it drives a human being to be the best that you can be, and understand that you're protecting the QB at all times.
Gray with the Bengals?
I'm not sure.
Gray, who would you say are your top 3 O-linemen in the game?
Top 3 offensive line in the game today. I would say number 1 would be Positional. Just the physicality he has in the run game is unbelievable. Number 2 would be Rashawn Slater out at left tackle. Guy that was told he had too short arms to play out at tackle, but has continued to play at an all-pro level every single year. And then number 3 would have to be my buddy Cody. I love seeing that red hair flowing out of the back of his helmet and just having fun out there playing football. Those probably be my 3 guys that I love to watch.
Gray, you said you'd like to enjoy what you saw from Caleb Williams' film. What excites you about a guy that can extend plays like that, but also the difficulty when someone can't?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And to understand what type of QB you have is super important. I know the talents that Caleb has are pretty remarkable. His feet is unbelievable, but at the same time, there is pros and cons, and that's with every single QB. So understanding who you have back behind you and what you got to do, because at the end of the day, your job is to protect him and make sure he doesn't get touched.
Have you met with the Raiders, and if so, what stood out?
Yeah, I have. I would just say the big thing that stood out with the Raiders is kind of the fresh blood in their program, the new coaching staff, and their passion they have for football. I mean, they want to win right away, and that was very evident in that meeting. And be able to meet with those guys was a surreal experience, and to especially get to know as much about football from them, because they have a lot of years of knowledge in that coaching staff, and just trying to be a sponge and soak up as much as I can.
What are your favorite things from growing up as a farm life?
Favorite things. I would probably say the biggest thing about growing up while having a family farm would have to just be the work mentality that you have. Yeah, you get in trouble growing up, or you get in a fight with your brother or something, you're immediately going to pick rocks or pull weeds. So understanding that and trying to be as nice as possible to your brothers is probably a big thing, but it's just something cool to be able to get out and kind of be out in the country and be able to work and do stuff and watch crops grow is super cool. And I just think the whole thing about farming and planting in the spring, you don't get a harvest till fall, and you got to watch that crop grow and develop. That's football as well. Like, you're not a finished product until you're done playing football. So just to continue to grow every single day is one thing I took away from farming that I'm super grateful for.
Have you met with the Jaguars this week?
I'm not sure. I probably will at some point. Excited to get to know about them and their program.
They got a Hall of Fame left tackle in front of the offensive line. What would it be like knowing a Hall of Fame and pick you saw that kind of talent?
Yeah, it'd be super cool. And just be able to learn as much as I can, because guys that have done it at a high level for that long have unbelievable knowledge, and being able to understand kind of how they got there and kind of what they had to do to have that type of career would be super cool to kind of talk about and learn from.
What kind of coach of the line do you have?
T-Roll, he's my guy. I love that man. They're getting an unbelievable person, first off. The energy that he has every single day is unbelievable. I don't know how he does it. He doesn't do caffeine, I think, or maybe he does now, but to have that energy every single day is remarkable. And he's a dude that could get you a run through a brick wall just by having a simple conversation with him. So I was bummed to see him leave North Dakota State, but he's an unbelievable coach, and I'm super excited for his family and his kids have this opportunity to go and coach in Detroit. So super excited for the Detroit tight ends and what type of coach they got.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Greg.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Greg.
Awesome.
Take it.